Question 1. What are the basic concepts of object-oriented programming in Java? 1. Abstraction. Abstraction in Java is the process of hiding implementation details and exposing only the essential information to the user. It helps to reduce the complexity of a system and increase the maintainability of the code. 2. Encapsulation. Encapsulation in Java is the mechanism of wrapping data and behavior within a single unit or object. It provides a level of protection for the object's data and behavior. 3. Inheritance. Inheritance in Java is a mechanism that allows a class to inherit properties and behavior from a parent class. This allows a class to be based on another class and to inherit its properties and behavior. 4. Polymorphism. Polymorphism in Java is the ability of an object to take on many forms. It allows objects of different classes to be treated as objects of a common class. These 4 concepts are the cornerstone of object-oriented programming and are used to design and implement object-oriented software in Java. They help to create reusable, maintainable, and flexible code. Question 2. What is the difference between a static and a non-static method in Java? 1. Static method. A static method is a method that belongs to the class, not to an instance of the class. It can be called directly on the class, without the need to create an instance of the class. The signature of a static method is defined as follows. Public static return type method name, arguments. A static method has no access to the instance variables of a class and can only access static variables. 2. Non-static method. A non-static method is a method that belongs to an instance of the class. It can be called on an instance of the class after creating an object of the class. The signature of a non-static method is defined as follows. Public return type method name, arguments. A non-static method has access to both instance and static variables. In summary, the main difference between a static and a non-static method is their accessibility and the data they can access. A static method can be called directly on the class and can only access static variables, while a non-static method can be called on an instance of the class and has access to both instance and static variables. Question 3. What is the use of the synchronized keyword in Java? The synchronized keyword in Java is used to control access to a shared resource by multiple threads. It is used to ensure that only one thread at a time can execute a particular section of code, which is defined as a synchronized block. This is important in multithreaded applications, where multiple threads may try to access and modify a shared resource simultaneously, which can result in unexpected behavior and data corruption. The synchronized keyword can be used in 2 ways. Way 1. Synchronized method. A synchronized method is a method that is declared with the synchronized keyword. When a thread invokes a synchronized method, it acquires the lock for the object and any other thread that tries to access the same object is blocked until the first thread releases the lock. Way 2. Synchronized block. A synchronized block is a block of code that is declared with the synchronized keyword. When a thread enters a synchronized block, it acquires the lock for the specified object and any other thread that tries to access the same object is blocked until the first thread releases the lock. In summary, the synchronized keyword in Java is used to ensure that only one thread at a time can access a shared resource, which helps to prevent data corruption and unexpected behavior in multithreaded applications. Question 4. How does the Java garbage collector work? The Java garbage collector, GC, is an automatic memory management system in Java that reclaims memory that is no longer used by the program. The GC is responsible for freeing up memory that is no longer being used by objects that are no longer accessible in the program. The GC works by performing the following steps. Step 1. Object marking. The GC scans the program's memory to identify all the objects that are accessible and still in use. These objects are marked as alive. Step 2. Object cleaning. The GC removes all objects that are not marked as alive and frees up their memory. Step 3. Compaction. After freeing up the memory, the GC compacts the remaining memory, which reduces the amount of memory fragmentation. This helps to reduce the likelihood of future GC collections. The GC uses various algorithms to perform its operations, including the mark sweep algorithm and the generational copying algorithm. The GC runs periodically in the background, and you do not need to manually invoke it. In summary, the Java garbage collector is an automatic memory management system in Java that reclaims memory that is no longer used by the program. The GC scans the program's memory, marks objects that are in use, removes objects that are not in use, and compacts the remaining memory, which helps to reduce fragmentation. Question 5. How does the equals and hashCode method work in Java? The equals and hashCode methods in Java are used to compare objects and generate a unique identifier for each object, respectively. These methods are defined in the object class and are often overridden in custom classes. 1. Equals method. The equals method is used to compare two objects for equality. It is overridden to provide a custom definition of equality for a class. The default implementation of the equals method checks if two objects are the same instance, but in most cases, you will want to override this method to check if two objects have the same values. The equals method must be consistent with the hashCode method, meaning that if two objects are equal, they must have the same hashCode. 2. hashCode method. The hashCode method is used to generate a unique identifier for an object. This identifier is used by the Java Collections framework to determine the position of an object in a hash-based data structure, such as a hash map. The hashCode method must be consistent with the equals method, meaning that if two objects are equal, they must have the same hashCode. The default implementation of the hashCode method generates a unique identifier based on the memory location of the object, but in most cases, you will want to override this method to generate a unique identifier based on the values of the object. In summary, the equals and hashCode methods in Java are used to compare objects for equality and generate a unique identifier for each object, respectively. These methods are defined in the object class and are often overridden in custom classes to provide a custom definition of equality and a unique identifier based on the values of the object. Question 6. What is the difference between a checked and an unchecked exception in Java? 1. Checked exceptions. Checked exceptions are the exceptions that are checked at compile time and must be caught or declared in a throws clause. Examples of checked exceptions are file not found exception, IO exception, and SQL exception. 2. Unchecked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions are the exceptions that are not checked at compile time and can be propagated to the caller method. Examples of unchecked exceptions are null pointer exception, illegal argument exception, and a reindex out of bounds exception. The main difference between a checked and an unchecked exception is that checked exceptions must be handled or declared, while unchecked exceptions can be propagated to the caller method. This means that the compiler will not enforce the handling of unchecked exceptions, making it easier to write code without having to catch or declare exceptions. However, unchecked exceptions can lead to unexpected behavior and crashes, so it is still a good practice to handle them when appropriate. In summary, the difference between a checked and an unchecked exception in Java is that checked exceptions are checked at compile time and must be caught or declared, while unchecked exceptions are not checked at compile time and can be propagated to the caller method. Thank you for watching and keep learning.